What was that juicy hometown high school rumor that turned out to be true? NSFW. There were rumors that the 40-year-old band teacher was romantically involved with a female student. All parties denied it and the administration bought it and apparently chalked it up to bullet rumors from gossipy kids. A year after she graduated, he left his wife and 2 kids and married her. Edit. One of the really odd things about this situation is that this student was smoking hot and really popular. She was our school's female track star, captain of the volleyball team and an honors student. The teacher was middle-aged, a little overweight and kind of an average-looking nerdy type. She seemed like the type that would have her pick of any guy she wanted. She was really sweet and made friends with everyone, though, so I'm sure she saw something in him that others didn't. Edit 2. Wow. After reading the comments so far, I'm a little shocked to see that this isn't really as uncommon as I thought. This took place in the Hudson Valley region of NY. That the vice principal was cheating on his terminally ill wife with a cheerleading coach. It was true and everyone knew. He got promoted to principal, moved his office to the conference room in the library. Conveniently and simultaneously, the cheerleading coach became the librarian. Bath. Everyone was always talking about how the pre-calculus teacher and the algebra teacher were screwing around. They were both married, but students would see them smiling at each other, even kissing in the halls. Turns out they were married to each other. She just kept her maiden name. I didn't find out till a few years later when I saw him on Facebook. I'm pretty sure they knew about the rumors and specifically said nothing to dispel them for its and giggles. The head high school principal was screwing a cheerleader and her mom while his wife was pregnant. He was asked to resign. He left and became the superintendent of another county. That a 7th grader was bringing vodka in a water bottle and would drink it throughout the day. Yet it turns out she brought 5 and got alcohol poisoning and had to be rushed to the hospital. That there was a GameCube with Super Smash in it hidden somewhere in the school along with a tiny TV and 4 controllers. One day at lunch my friend told me he found it and I didn't believe him. I didn't even believe it existed, but I wanted it to be true. So I snuck out at lunch with him and we went up through the theater and up into the room where they kept all the props for the plays, and sure enough, behind this big dusty couch there she was. It was like finding treasure except better. From that day on we ate our lunches there and played Smash until our thumbs hurt. That was senior year of high school and damn do I miss it. There was a rumor that our AP economics teacher was having an affair with our married AP US history teacher. Rumor only grew steam when she filed for divorce just before graduation. 2 years after I graduated, my friend who worked at a daycare texted me a picture of the 2 of them dropping off her 2 kids. The star basketball player was into younger girls. Let's be painfully explicit here. The guy was ripped. He was Shaq foot 10. And probably at least a head taller than anyone at our school. He was white, but tanned like a glazed onion. Girls would be all over him like moths to the sole street lamp in a dark neighborhood. Freshman and sophomore year he dated around, but junior and senior year he went exclusively for the freshmen. And as some of us noted, they were the younger looking freshmen. Word got around that the guy was using steroids. Never proven, and apparently tested, so possibly wrong. But some guys used to say he likes little girls because he has a little D. I never really believed it. His last girlfriend in high school ended up being this Asian girl who went to Harvard for medicine or summit, and he went off with his basketball scholarship to university. He was always cool, calm, and colleged, and he was just sweet. No way would he be messing around with younger girls. Then one of my friends called me from high school, when we were around 25, and told me to look him up. Lo and behold, he had a pretty little mugshot after distributing illegal material. The guy could have been drowning in pink, living in the puss. He could have been ducking Tom Brady's ducking wife. It's unbelievable to me, but it turned out to be true. Rumor was one of the girls at my high school had a mom who was a porn star. Turns out her mom is Misty Vonage. That the biology teacher hated the principal so much that he repeatedly set the class tarantula loose to sway her away from visiting his part of the school. When I was 13 years old, a girl and a boy from my class stopped going to school for some days. As silly kids as we were, We started joking that they were getting together to make babies and ended up missing the classes. The boy was just sick. The girl was actually pregnant. That the theater kids would use the woman's bathroom in the theater to have sex. Turned out it was true when a teacher walked in on a couple going at it on the sink. They ended up locking the theater bathrooms during the day and only opened them for performances. It sucked because those bathrooms were nicer and quieter than the other ones. Male history teacher was having sex with, fooling around with, and videotaping female students that were below legal age. He's in jail now. That the girl in my class had a sister a year older who had been locked in a closet since she was 5 years old. Turned out to be true and mom and dad went to prison. The girl was mentally handicapped and they just decided to lock her in the closet and only let her out to clean out the closet. She ate in there and defecated in a bucket. In high school my chemistry teacher came in high on acid. He ended up army crawling all the way down to the main office where the cops were called. School beauty pageant. Underdog big girl gets crowned. It was very after school special. However, it turned out that this happened. The winner's mom walked in on the judges saying that her daughter wasn't pageant material. Freaked out and started crying. Accused the judges of being size ist. And somehow managed to convince them crown her daughter anyway. The daughter found out and voluntarily gave back the crown to the runner-up who was the actual winner. It was pretty humiliating for all involved. Coach having an affair with a student. He got fired and she transferred schools. 2 students having sex in the back of the school bus resulting in boys having to sit on one side and girls on the other forever. 2 students having sex in the bathroom next to the gym. So many pregnancies. Like a disproportionate amount based on our school size. Kid goes to jail for armed robbery for 30 days but only does the weekends because he comes from a good family. Co-salutatorians because the original salutatorian was caught cheating on an honors course and had the honors credit taken away. I went to a really small school. So it's funny that there are this many. My hometown had problems. There were rumors that a mystery kid was pooping in the janitor's closets. Everyone thought it was a stupid rumor until the principal made an announcement about it. They never caught the kid. But a few years later I found out who it was. It turned out to be a friend of mine. I wasn't shocked. This kid was strange. You could dare him to do anything and he would do it. He once ate part of a dissected frog on a dare. Another time he almost chugged bleach but the teacher stopped him. TLDR. I was unknowingly friends with the mad pooper. That this girl in grade 10, aged 15/16, stabbed her father around Christmas time. Everyone was talking about it and it turned out to be true. The administration would suspend anyone talking about it. Edit. After going back and reading the article, turns out the father was pronounced dead. Rumors also went around that she got locked up. For those asking for the link. One of the popular jarhead class clown types was accused of sexual assault on the bustiest girl at the school for biting her left tit. 18-year-old guy gets caught finger blasting a 14-year-old in the upstairs hallway. For a whole 2 months or so no one was allowed upstairs during lunch. This happened last year. And this year all of the lockers and classes are moved downstairs. It, CEX, underage 6, extramarital 6. Teenage pregnancy 6. Statutory abuse 6. BJ for PlayStation 6. The super smart girl who got into all the top schools was so depressed at an Ivy League because she was no longer the smartest person and had to drop out after 1 semester. It was a big deal because she scored an almost perfect SAT score and was the first in our high school to go there. A guy in my year in secondary school, high school time, had sex in a McDonald's bathroom and stuck it up the wrong hole causing the girl to bleed everywhere. Wasn't really much of a rumor since he confirmed it about 2 days after it went around the year. Wrestling coach owned a funeral home. A kid did an internship there and said the coach was selling body parts. Nobody believed him. Well, the coach is now in jail for selling organs and a load more things. Good ol' North Catholic. Edit. Yes, I am talking about Northeast Catholic in Philadelphia. As far as the kid doing the internship, I should have called it an apprenticeship. I know he wanted to be a mortician. From what I recall, he washed the cars and drove the limo, and after graduation he was going to get involved with the actual procedures. This has probably happened in a bunch of places. There was a gym teacher who was really invested in his students when we were in middle school. Middle school was kinda the phase where we never really knew who was out to get us. But most of us thought the gym teacher was. He was smiling an astonishing amount of the time. Even when we were in the locker room getting undressed and dressed. Many of us found it unnerving and a bit creepy. And there were many rumors going around that he was gay and into younger boys. Well, it turns out that in my final year of middle school, he got sacked. Even after years of teaching. And everyone knew why he was sacked. We were wrong, though. Since there was a twist. He had been touching a female classmate inappropriately. Many of us thought he was going to be sacked for something like that. At least a little. But I don't think a single one of us thought it would be for touching a girl. He sure proved us wrong. When my boyfriend was in high school, there was a sub there who was subbing while finishing college whose mom had been a teacher at the school for years. This girl eventually ends up ducking half the football team and has pictures of her tits going around. They let her resign instead of pressing charges. I'm assuming because of her mom being there for so long and because some of the students were of age. So a couple of weeks ago we hired a new attorney at the law firm I work for. I tease her. The head pom, who would go down on literally any football player, had a pregnancy scare. Failed 12th grade English and moved to a different county to not face the small town shame of being the only member of the senior class to not graduate. Back when I was in school, a girl used to duck older men, 30-year-olds and older, for cigarettes and weed. She was 14 or 15 years old at the time. Not many people knew about it, but it turned out to be true. Nobody really cared as she was already known as a slut around the school. Conzilla. That a freshman girl popped her cherry with the wide part of a shampoo bottle. She took pictures and sent said pictures to a group of guys in the sophomore class, telling them to keep it private. Everyone saw and she wound up transferring. If you're from California, you probably at least know a school that sends the seniors to Disneyland for grad night. They keep the park open way late and pack it full of partying teenagers. What could go wrong? These two guys decided grad night would be a fabulous time to try mushrooms. They got way too high, jumped some fences, and were escorted out of the park by security. We heard this all secondhand from their classmates and assumed it was some kind of exaggeration. Until next year when we were told we wouldn't be going to Disneyland anymore. TLDR. 2 stoner kids got our school banned from Disneyland. Edit some additional info. The school was in Central California. As I heard it, they got into a water feature and were splashing each other. But I don't know if that part is true. And yes, Disneyland officially asked our school not to come back. Edit to stop PMing me asking which high school I went to lol. Our mayor stuffed the ballot box with the names of the dead. When I moved away from my old school in 6th grade, someone spread a rumor that I was a lesbian because I was obsessed with Lady Gaga. 6 years later, moved past the Lady Gaga phase, but definitely a flaming homo. We were all at band camp and it was rumored that one of the girls in my class, 17 or so at the time, was pregnant. I laughed at the idea when I heard it. Sure, she had a big, baggy shirt on each day, but despite all the jokes, band camp is generally tough on the body. 10 plus hours of marching each day, plus hours of music practice. She'd have to be far enough along that she'd know that submitting herself to that kind of exertion in the heat for a week was a bad idea. She left camp early and both she and her baby nearly died from what she put herself through. She was premature and had all sorts of problems. But thankfully, it turned out okay. The school and teachers tried to cover the pregnancy up because her mom was rather influential. But when she came back to school telling her story and showing off pictures, yeah. Our extremely flamboyant, perfect hair, nice dress shoes high school counselor was in the closet. He never came out but he was rumored to have been having relations with one of the HS guys. As soon as the kid turned 18, he moved in with the counselor and they were seen in public together a few times being lovey-dovey. Guy stopped coming to school. We jokingly declared he must be dead. We'd later find out that he actually was dead. Male soccer coach hooking up with female players after his wife divorced him. Female assistant coach fit lady banging the football team's top. Non-Mormon players. Mr. Riley tried to scalp himself after finding out his wife left him for a woman. He wears his bangs low to hide the scars. Also he's colorblind. Christian and Daniel both had secret brain tumors. Tiffany was a hermaphrodite and shaved her beard for the graduation rehearsal, but neglected to again days later for the actual ceremony. Also her D flopped like crazy during games of basketball in pay. Edit for all those asking. These are true. And I went to high school in San Diego. Also, I too remember the butthole surfers. And as it turned out, Goldie never had the HIV. My high school once cancelled lunch one day because we damn near had a riot after 8 fights broke out. I was on a field trip with 100 other students. My high school had a total of 2,300. And we were all getting texts from our friends on the bus. Edit. This was in Washington. The 2 school secretaries were a lesbian couple. It was just a joke. Though when I was waiting to get back into the school from eating lunch out, all school security systems went next level because of Sandy Hook. One of the secretaries stood up and kissed the other on the cheek and walked out the office. Doesn't confirm anything but some good evidence. A meeting of the Future Farmers of America Club at my high school turned into a massive oral sex orgy. It was just rumors for a while until the administration confirmed it and those involved were punished severely. Membership in FFA spiked though. One of the art teachers and one of the Latin teachers were in a feud. I had always heard this rumor that the new principal at my elementary school was fired because he was caught banging the 3rd grade teacher. To be fair, she was smoking hot, which was super awkward because she became our language arts teacher in 6-8, so she went from having these sweet little kids to a bunch of preteens staring at her massive tits. Anyways, I just found out like 2 days ago it was true. That was why her husband, I'm a straight man, but this guy is literally one of those guys from a truck commercial and genuinely awesome, divorced her and is now married to a former Brazilian cop who is just as hot. A girl was giving rim jobs in the bathrooms in exchange for drugs. Turned out not to be true. She just gave rim jobs because she liked to. Rumor in my high school that a chick banged a teacher for an A. Turned out to be half true. He told her she would get an A or an F, depending on if she ducked him or not. He confessed some 30 years after the fact. The girl in question was a friend of mine's mom. It's too bad that this is guaranteed to be buried and never seen. But my sophomore year there was rumors that someone was ducking the sheep in the ag barn. Sure enough, junior year the ag teacher heard something and went in there to find a senior going to town. Edit. I grew up in a small town in Texas. Also, my top rated comment is about a guy I knew who ducked a sheep decades ago, but one of the kids in the high school killed and ate a younger kid. Then he used the victim's skull in the school production of Hamlet. TLDR. Creepy teachers and people having sex with a wide variety of household pets. When I was a sophomore in high school, our county sheriff was assassinated by a rifle shot from a considerable distance in the midst of election season. Rumors started flying that the guy who was running against him, a former deputy, had something to do with it. But it just seemed too sensational, like something out of a movie. Sure enough, after a little time passes, it's confirmed that the deputy had a former Marine do the hit, and the town lost its it. Made national news. And I think even Aunt Cayman did a TV show about it. If anyone is interested in reading about it, the sheriff's name was Sam Catron. Happened in 2002. A classmate of mine was absent with mono. I learned about a year later that she had actually been pregnant, and her mom forced her to give up the kid. Oh. And the father was my older brother, and my entire family and the whole school knew except me. The senior class a year ahead of me in high school had this really big popular group, and one of the main couples was honestly two of the best looking people I've ever seen. They had been dating for at least a year, but apparently their friend group was really incestuous, and I guess they were just so pretty they slept with everyone. Well, one of them got some strange from outside of our high school and contracted syphilis. Lo and behold, not much later at least a quarter of the senior class had syphilis. Edit. Sorry for the confusion. I know the difference between incestuous and promiscuous. I used the former because I guess it's just so weird to me that a friend group would sleep around with each other like that. Regardless, They weren't related, just super open I guess lol. That I was ducking the Spanish teacher. I acted really offended and cried about it to the administration so they'd squash it. I even publicly apologized to the Spanish teacher like it was my fault, because he was a client of mine outside of school, and I really didn't want people knowing I was hooking. Edit, I'm a dude. When I was a sophomore, there was a rumor that a teacher had went under the stairs in a hallway because she dropped something and caught a freshman blowing a senior. No one really believed it until we came back the next year and they had installed mirrors all around the stairs so you could see every angle. Not a rumor, but a kid in one of my classes told me he was going to tour with his brothers for the summer and wasn't coming back to school next fall. I thought he was full of it and told him good luck sarcastically. Kings of Leon are a pretty popular band I hear. 8 seniors and juniors, 4 male and 4 female, had an orgy on the 23rd yard line of the football field while there was nobody else there. Of course, it was true and I'll never regret being a part of it. The top group of the chorus my senior was apparently having orgies. I heard the rumor, then someone who was there gave me details. The chorus teacher also picks a new senior every year to have as a girlfriend. No idea if it got physical. This eventually got out because the flavor of the year's mother found the love note the teacher had written. The funny thing was, I wasn't in chorus. People just told me things. While some of these are super ducked up, the closest I've got is one girl getting arrested for selling pot brownies, and in junior high a history teacher started dating the gym teacher, neither of which are particularly scandalous. We had a celebrity in our high school who went on to win an Emmy much later on. Between freshman and sophomore year she came back a different person, enhanced. Turns out she did actually have the procedure but it wasn't verified until later on. The head cheerleader's babysitting club was a front for an underage prostitution ring. Back in the mid-90s the little town I lived in had a not at all publicized scandal involving the local high school cheerleaders, the resident police officer, the town's mayor, and numerous prominent church members. Turns out the babysitting service had extra services for the fathers. She was clever enough to involve several underage girls and affluent members of the community as a means to protect herself if ever the law came crashing down around her. In the end, no indictments were made and only one marriage was broken up. Put the cheerleader in charge through 4 years at the local private university and a graduate degree at Princeton. That I slept with the student teacher that everyone kind of thought I did during my junior year, but figured I'd never be able to, so it stayed a rumor. She was a fairly attractive redhead with a tattoo behind her ear. I always wished we'd been able to make a go at a real relationship, but we had to cool it when the rumors started. And by the time she wasn't student teaching at my school anymore, she had a new boyfriend. We met by chance few years later, after I had graduated. Had lunch a few times, but nothing ever came of it. Wonder what she's doing now? That this sophomore chick who was dating a 20-something-year-old creep had another girl in their relationship. The 3 of them stayed together for a year or 2, far as I know. That this one girl was bald and wore a wig to school. Not a lot of people know the validity of this rumor, but I do. She was my girlfriend for 2 years. Then she cheated on me on our anniversary. She also had the nerve to spread rumors about me to everyone we knew. So when people ask me if she really does wear a wig, I'm not scared to. Nor do I feel ducked up when I tell them yes, I've seen her without it. Hell, I even put it on. The basketball coach and his female assistant smoke weed before every game. Source, I'm the coach. I'm not really in with the crowd who hears all the rumors, but I have heard 2 that stand out. 1. A current sophomore had sex with her dog and her friend's dog while her friend filmed it. My friend actually saw the video which confirmed it. 2. A girl had sex with 4 guys in one night at some party. Didn't really need confirming since all the guys and the girl were talking about it the next week.